today's groundbreaking really is, in many respects, the groundbreaking for these two fancy dressed guys here, Ed Sabatino from Hepcap and Henry Pasco from Humanum. City Seeds, their new building, and grab them after the ceremony. They'll give you the whole scoop on it. It's going to be going up over there. It's going to be a production kitchen, culinary workforce training, social enterprise, catering business. For any of you got catering stuff, talk to Henry. They're going to be amazing, employing people, training people out of the neighborhood. City Seeds. So their big party's coming when they do their ribbon cutting. For the Food Hub, this is the start of site work, doing our parking lot, utilities, everything like that. We still have $17 million to raise for these glorious buildings. We're going to be all about jobs. That's what Humanum is, with their culinary workforce training and business opportunities for community residents. That's number one. So this is an economic development project, but it also is all about healthy food and nutrition. So we're a double-barreled project. We're really excited about getting going. Tons of thanks. China Boat Trail's going to give the run us through. All the folks have been helping us. A special call out I'd like to make is to Ken Holt, Carol Gilbert, and their team. Been hugely helpful pulling things together the last couple months. Paul Graziano, Stacy Freed, and her team. Been a great city-state partnership, foundations. We'll hear all about it. And then particularly for China, she just came on in June, and we were in deep trouble. We had a serious budget gap, unfortunately. And we're scrambling around, how are we going to get this thing off the ground? We were running out of time. We're running out of time on our state crest, running out of time on our EDA. And China came in, took charge as the fearless leader of ACT, working with the partners at Humanum, Hepcap, City State, and we now have a groundbreaking. So I'd like to turn this over with great thanks to China and her team for their terrific job, and let's run with it.
Thank you so much. That introduction was very gracious. What I would like to do is turn it over to Pastor Dante Hickman, and many of you know him, I'm sure, but really his vision for the two senior centers here in this neighborhood helped catalyze a lot of the development that we now have happening north of the tracks. Pastor Hickman.
Good afternoon to our mayor, to all of our elected officials, certainly to China, to Rel, and all of the leadership of this great project. It's so good to see all of you here today. In the early 2000s, there was an article written in the Baltimore Sun paper that said that this was a neighborhood dubbed without hope. And I always took issue with that particular article because so many people who lived and who still live in this community never lost their hope that this community could experience revitalization and redevelopment. I always considered it to be a neighborhood without help. And I thank God today that it's projects like the Baltimore Food Hub and Humanum and Hopkins and others that are bringing help to an underserved, disinvested population of people in our city. And while we may not have a $660 million TIF, we do have hearts that this community can be rebuilt for the benefit of its people and to the glory of God. And so with that, I'm happy to be here, and I want to offer a word of prayer that this might be successful and effective, especially for the people who have endured so much dilapidation and disinvestment for decades. Father, we come to you in your name, and we thank you for the abundance of your grace and your mercy. We thank you that your eyes have always remained upon this people, upon this neighborhood and community. Thank you for development that's taking place all over the city of Baltimore, but we also thank you that this hub has not been forgotten. Thank you for the investment. Thank you for the resources. Thank you, oh God, for what is taking place today. We ask that your grace will continue to be upon this project and that you would bring it to fulfillment, and it will serve its purpose as it continues to be a model for growth all over East Baltimore. Bless China, bless our mayor, bless all of the elected officials who continue to keep this community as the apple of their heart. It's in your name that we pray, and together we say, amen. Amen.
Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here with all of you. You know, this has been a great morning. We've been all over. I hope the feedback isn't that bad. We've been all over this morning celebrating the progress that we've made under my administration, and I'm so pleased to be here with all of you to celebrate another victory for Baltimore's communities. The Food Hub is the best example of what happens when purpose meets planning, and I'm honored to join you in celebrating the future of food manufacturing here in Baltimore. Together, we have unlocked a new frontier as Baltimore takes one step closer to becoming a self-sufficient urban food supplier. Throughout my administration, we've been conscious about improving food policies and breaking down barriers to improve access, especially to low-income populations. Baltimore is widely recognized as one of the leaders in food policies. I was the first mayor in the country to hire a food policy director, and we are widely regarded as the city that is breaking down the barriers when it comes to food deserts in our urban communities. Whether it's our virtual food market or the work that we're doing to expand access for farmers markets in our city, we have so much to be proud of, and I'm just pleased to be able to stand here to mark another milestone in our efforts to make healthy food available and affordable for our communities. I know that this collaboration is also a strong suit for our partners like American Communities Trust. We're all better for the expertise that they've contributed to the design of this initiative and the positive impact that it will have on our city. I must also commend the Baltimore Development Corporation's efforts. This campus that we sit on today was city-owned property until August of this year. And I'm pleased, you know, Struver touched on it a bit, talking about the entryway into the city. And many of my colleagues who are here know that people have complained about, you know, they used to call it the last mile, now it's the green mile or something else, that the front door to Baltimore that you see when you're coming by Amtrak, whether from the north or from the south. And, you know, throughout my time on the council, people had complained that we just weren't putting our best foot forward. We weren't looking for ways to show a better reflection of the future, the strength and the future of Baltimore in that last mile. And I just want to thank all of our partners who understood that this is a critical component to making that entryway for our city vibrant and vital and a true reflection of the future of our city. And I'm also pleased that under my administration we were able to finally do something about it and bring the Green Mile project to fruition. And I want to thank all the partners in my administration to make that happen. So I want to again thank Baltimore Development Corporation. They negotiated the sale of the land and worked with ACT throughout the development planning process, including funding the project through a forgivable purchase money mortgage. They also assisted with identifying and repairing a major drain line that bisects the property. A project of this size is not easy to coordinate, but the mutual commitment couldn't be more evident. As a result, we're able to stand here today to celebrate the growing reality of a wholesome food production possibilities in Baltimore. Connecting East Baltimore to Maryland's food manufacturing economy will be catalytic for economic development in this region, as well as cultivating a dynamic workforce. It has been a pleasure for me to work with our federal partners, our state partners, our local partners, philanthropic partners and private partners to take the lead on these efforts. And the result is an impeccable model for producing local and leveraging this industry to create jobs in our neighborhoods like Broadway East that is severely impacted by disinvestment.
Yes.
When the city issued an RFP for the redevelopment of this historic site 5 years ago, it was an idea of creating an anchor that would build off of the investments that are being made at EBDI and efforts by Humanum at the American Brewery Building. The Baltimore Food Hub is a 3.5-acre campus that will create dozens of jobs, re-energize the marketplace with new business, and provide opportunities for microenterprise, workforce training, education, and economic development. This project culminates a grand vision of growing a healthier city from farm to table. in pursuit of common goals like eliminating our food deserts, promoting healthy behavior change that will teach our young people to be healthier adults with better eating habits, will help to reduce health disparities and help our citizens lead healthier and happier lives. A healthy city is a growing city, and I'd like to thank the partners and great collaborators who understood this from the very start. The Honorable Jay Williams, Assistant Secretary of Commerce, the Honorable Jack Young, the President of the City Council, Reverend Dr. Dante Hickman, China Terrell, Commissioner Graziano, Honorable Senator McFadden, Delegate Maggie McIntosh, Secretary Holt, Terry Booker, Bill Struver, and all of you who have contributed to us being here. We know that this is only the beginning. We've all shown great integrity and intention in building the momentum that it takes to make all of these possibilities a reality. Thank you for seeing this opportunity as a blank canvas to create meaningful resources in Baltimore and beyond. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who represents the Obama administration finally, someone who, an administration that has been a true partner with my administration ever since I took office February of 2010. The Obama administration, through our highs and our lows, have been here. I've lost count with how many times the Obama administration secretaries and their representatives have been here to Baltimore, many, many times with check in hand to support our efforts to grow Baltimore. I'm grateful that they see Baltimore as a place where they could showcase the President Obama's vision for the vitality of American cities. And it is my pleasure to introduce U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce, Jay Williams.
Good morning, Mayor Rawlings-Blake. Thank you for that introduction. And first, let me take a privilege to let you all know my staff knows how I feel about Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. We are just down the road, and I have been here in this great city of Baltimore twice in the past 4 days for events that have been a direct result of her stalwart leadership. So, Mayor Rawlings-Blake, thank you for allowing me to come here once again. And if you all schedule something tomorrow and the day after, I will be back. It is truly to watch her leadership of this city over the past several years has been nothing short of inspiring. And this is indeed a perfect and a wonderful laboratory for us to come and bring the resources of the federal government. It doesn't happen because of the federal government. It happens when the federal government that does have a role is able to partner with strong local leadership in the philanthropic community, in the faith-based community, certainly in the private sector, the educational community, all brought together and convened under the leadership of a great mayor. And that's indeed truly what is going on here in this wonderful city. To all of the other officials, Mr. Young, who is the president of the City Council, Secretary Holt, to the EDA staff. I have been blessed with a staff much better than I deserve. And our staff is represented here from our Philadelphia regional office, Linda Cruz-Carnell and Alma Plummer. Linda is the regional director. Alma Plummer is the representative on the ground for the state of Maryland. And many of you know her, and if you don't, I would highly recommend that you do so. And for China, thank you for your leadership. Being relatively new on the scene here, you've already done a wonderful job working with American Communities Trust and the historic East Baltimore Action Coalition. It was more than 50 years ago that President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Public Works and Economic Development Act, which created the Economic Development Administration. He understood that if we were to have a great society, it would require a federal partnership with local stakeholders. And for more than 50 years, the Economic Development Administration has been the only federal agency that is solely driven by economic development, helping to create economic opportunity. We don't create jobs at the federal level. Elected officials don't create jobs. But what we do is when we're at our best, we help create conditions on the ground. So when capital is put at risk and the time and talent of individuals and entrepreneurs and innovators, when they bring that time and talent and willing to put their own capital at risk, ultimately we see progress in our communities. As Mayor Blake talked about, the commitment of this administration to the city of Baltimore and the surrounding region is unequivocally strong. Just in the past 4 years, we've seen over $3.5 million investment here in the city of Baltimore. Just a few months ago, I was here with the mayor and we were talking about the investment with the National Urban League to help promote entrepreneurship and small businesses. We talked about the investment that we had just at this 21st Century City Symposium that was hosted here in the city of Baltimore, talking about the future of cities across this country, and it was by no accident that that was hosted here in the city of Baltimore. The Economic Development Administration has made other significant investments with the American Communities Trust and the historic East Baltimore Community Action Coalition. But I'm most excited about the project that we are here talking about today, the soul of which is to bring the Baltimore food cluster, the cluster that is energetic across the state and specifically across the city, bring it here to East Baltimore. This is a project that will empower the individuals within this community, within this neighborhood, without displacing them and without making sure that they are dispossessed of the assets that they have worked so hard to earn. My wife works in higher education, and I've been to university events and understanding how universities spend their food service budget. And the anchor institutions here in the city of Baltimore spend almost 22% of their food service on catering. So that $6 muffin that you get at one of the university events, I appreciate it, it's fancy, they have a great setting, that would otherwise cost you $1.50, that is now profit, and those are revenues and resources that will be more accessible to small businesses here in this neighborhood, making sure that they have access to some of those dollars that flow through. Access to minority businesses, disadvantaged businesses, women-owned businesses, who are creating jobs that don't always necessarily require technical degrees, that don't require things that sometimes make the barrier to entry impossible, but that do allow them a platform, that do allow them to get a step up. Also, I'm excited about the fact that this will help create, as the mayor talked about, eliminate the food deserts that are so pervasive in communities across this country, making sure that the food is healthy, that it's affordable, that it's accessible, that the young men and women, the senior citizens who inhabit this neighborhood, don't have to travel miles on the bus line or try to find a ride to get healthy, accessible food. I'm excited about the fact that this is also relevant to manufacturing, food manufacturing, processing, packaging, creating those facilities and those opportunities right here in this region, in this neighborhood, and a commercial kitchen that will be, take the commercial kitchen idea up to the next level. Making sure that, again, those small entrepreneurs, as they move out of their kitchens, and I'm sure that there are plenty of families who will be happy to have that burgeoning entrepreneur get their kitchen back at home, trying to cook dozens and dozens and dozens or significant amounts of quantities of food at home, now being able to rent out the commercial kitchens that will ultimately be a part of this. That's what EDA has been about, and that's what the city of Baltimore has seen progress over the last number of years. Secretary Pritzker has been very clear about the support she has for small businesses. The president has been unequivocally clear, saying that although this administration is winding down, that we are to spend the last weeks and months of this administration continuing to engage our partners, running through the tape, making sure that we're bringing all the resources of the federal government to bear on these partnerships and through these partnerships, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. So I thank you for allowing us to be a part of this very exciting venture. Our investment is just a small part, an important part, of what is a $23 million vision that is coming to pass in this historic neighborhood. So I'm excited, and on behalf of the Secretary of Commerce, on behalf of the President of the United States, let me congratulate you on a level of collaboration here. Mayor, again, thank you for your steady hand of leadership. We're excited about whatever life has for you next. But nonetheless, this will be a city, this will be a model that we will continue to point to as a model and example for other cities, large and small, across the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you so much, Assistant Secretary. There are just a few folks that I want to acknowledge. First of all, Comptroller Pratt. And I feel like I'm blocking her, so I'm going to scoot over so that I'm not. But we so appreciate your being here today. We so appreciate Comptroller Pratt's support. It truly takes a team of folks to give this project the push that it needs. And there are a lot of people who aren't speaking today, but who helped give the project this push. So let me just acknowledge them. Bill Cole, President of the Baltimore Development Corporation. Andy Frank of the Johns Hopkins University. I know that we've got Senator, our Council President Jack Young, he's speaking next, of course. Councilmember Carl Stokes, I know that you're here. Wonderful. And then also we have some nominees here. We've got Democratic nominee Robert Stokes. We've got Democratic nominee Shannon Sneed is also here. Wonderful. We've got independent candidate Don Sparacco here. Oh, he's right over there. We've got Delegate Cheryl from our Maryland General Assembly. We've got Delegate Cheryl Glenn here. Wonderful, thank you. And we've got Senator Bill Ferguson here. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So I just wanted to thank everyone there. In addition, I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged and thanked Nate Lowenthal with the task force, the presidential task force, he's right here, that is responsible for helping to coordinate federal funding. I know I see Eric Booker here, who's a stalwart in this community. I know Assistant Secretary Carol Gilbert was already mentioned, but I love her so much I had to say it twice. And then in addition, I have to thank the very small but very mighty ACT staff. The staff is absolutely, absolutely incredible. There are 4 or 5 of us, and everyone's a powerhouse. I have to thank my predecessor, Greg Heller, who was the CEO before me, who worked very diligently to move this project forward, and who deserves a lot of the credit as well. I have to thank our board members. Of course, you've heard from our chair, Bill Striever, but we've got Cobber Eccles here as well. He's out here, but he's not an event guy. There he goes. We've got Rachel Riley Carroll here as well. We've got Ben Circa here. I didn't see Ryan, but I want to say his name anyway. And of course, we've got Janice Woodcock here as well. And of course, our development partner, Ed Sabatino. And then also we have our operating partner, Henry Pasco. So I just wanted to make sure I acknowledged all those folks. And I'm sure that there are people that I am forgetting, but I am a newbie, so please forgive me. Wonderful, thank you so much. Yes, because we have staff here from Congressman Cummings' office, as well as Congressman, Senator Mikulski's office as well. So we just want to thank you for being here. We so appreciate the Congressman's support. Now I would like...
Ray Skinner from EBDI.
Oh, yes, of course. And Ray Skinner from EBDI. See, thank you. I need a lot of help up here, as you all can see. Once you start naming names, it's all, it's in trouble from there. But thank you so much, Ray. We have lots of work to do together. Okay, great. We got to connect after this. I would like to bring up our Baltimore City Council President, Jack Young. This man moves mountains. I was in his office and I said, well, here's what I need. And he picked up the phone and my need was done. So I just want to thank him and turn it over to him.
Thank you and good morning. First of all, thank you, China, for stepping in and taking over the job from your predecessor. I want to thank the community for putting up with this spot here for so many years, looking really, really bad. I used to come back on the train when I used to go to Washington or to Philadelphia when I was going to some of those basketball games and hear some of the comments that people would make as they travel down on their way to Penn Station. I want to hear what they have to say once this is completed. But I'd like to give a shout out to Councilman Carl Stokes. Carl is not easy. And when this project came through, I was like, oh God, what is Carl going to do? But Carl fooled me. And Carl said, yes, I'm all in. And without his support, I doubt if we'd been standing here today. So Carl, thank you for your support of this project. Because this food hub is not only going to bring a lot of jobs, it's going to bring a lot of entrepreneurs here. We have Johns Hopkins up the street that's going to need a lot of that fresh food that's going to be grown here. The community is going to be able to come and partake of some of that fresh food that's going to be grown here as well. And I want to also recognize Shannon Sneed, our Democratic nominee, and our Democratic nominee who will be my councilperson, Robert Stokes, who will see this project when it's finished, and hopefully at the groundbreaking. But this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful project here. I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting, looking forward to working with each and every one of you here because I want to see I want to hear what they say and see what they write about this project, because at one time they wrote about how bad this place was, and I heard the comments of how bad it looked from people who traveled this corridor. I want to see their comments now. So thank you, and I look forward to the ribbon cutting.
I just also want to make sure that I mention that Reverend Harley Wilson's church is represented here as well. Thank you for being here. We know Reverend Wilson had an illness on Sunday, so we're keeping him in our prayers. And then also the other good Reverend, what's his last name? There's another good Reverend of the church right up the street here, and it's my fault that I didn't reach out to him.
Perkins. No,
Yes, exactly. Reverend Perkins. And so it's my fault I didn't reach out to him.
Reverend Farrs is right here, right at your door.
Exactly. And so I just wanted to make sure I acknowledged him. I have the pleasure of bringing to you now Commissioner Paul Graziano. He is our champion in all caps. He helped us steer together the last bit of funding that we need, of course. And so, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, China, and thanks to all of you for being here on this beautiful day. As the mayor said earlier, this is a celebration of so many efforts and so many parts of the city coming together here, and it's not coincidental that it's coming together under her leadership. So I want to start by just thanking our mayor, my boss, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. I want to thank President Young for his ongoing support. We go back a ways to when you were a district councilman, and the partnership has been steady throughout, and I appreciate your support as well. And I know that the two of you, along with Comptroller Pratt, who's in the back here, will be making it official tomorrow, but we have approximately $1.6 million of funds that we will be dedicating to this project to both do some historic stabilization of these absolutely wonderful buildings that Bill Struber described earlier, and to do some critical infrastructure work. And I want to thank my state partners, Secretary Holt and his team, for helping us to assemble some of that money, and then some of it came out directly out of city funds. So it's been a true partnership there. Speaking of the state partners, our local delegation here, led by Senator McFadden, and we're in your home. So thank you for inviting us, and it's wonderful to be in your community. And Chairwoman McIntosh, who's been steadfast in her support for these housing and community development programs, and the entire delegation. I'm not going to run through all the names because people have covered so many, and that I don't want to be totally repetitive, but I thank you all for this work. This project is all the wonderful things that it's been described as in terms of human capital and good food and nutrition and how do we strengthen communities and give opportunity to folks, much like the open works that we celebrated earlier this morning, creating opportunities of that sort. There's also another dimension here. This is part of a critical blight elimination strategy, and I want to acknowledge Deputy Commissioner Julie Day from my team, Land Resources, who've been working very closely throughout the city with the Mayor's Vacants to Value program. Madam Mayor, I can't think of a better example of Vacants to Value. We usually talk a lot about housing being renovated into new homes, but here we're taking a little bit worn out facility and going to give it a new life, and with new jobs and new opportunities. But this is just part of a much larger effort. You know, we've been working for years, and I see Ray Skinner there just south of here. The EBDI is really taking off these days, and I know, was it last weekend when you had the open house? 48 houses, I heard, close to 50. 50 houses, okay, 50 houses sold in one day in East Baltimore. And what does that tell you? When you put in a good product and you have a comprehensive strategy, people will come. People will buy these houses. It is extraordinary what's happening here. And what's extraordinary about EBDI, beyond the accomplishments of the 88-acre footprint, is the fact that that investment bug has spread throughout East Baltimore. It's moved up across, under the tracks, to the other side, to Broadway East here. It's gone to the south and to the west and all over. We have pockets of major reinvestment, and those pockets are going to coalesce into tremendous new communities. Just in this area alone, we've got a triangle of reinvestment. We started with Humanum. Where's Henry Posca? We started with Humanum, and Henry, you got to get an award for bravery for taking on that project. We had a white elephant that we couldn't sell to anybody for years, the American Brewery building, and we weren't trying to con you or anything, but you turned that into a gemstone. So it started with that, and then the Mary Harvin Apartments, and we had to do that one twice, but we did, and it was wonderful. And Pastor, thank you for your commitment and your faith, and you giving us all the strength to keep persevere on that. And Secretary Holt for giving us another opportunity to move that thing along. And then you go down to this site, which has got extraordinary potential, and then you go over to the Hone building, which is another leg of the corner of the triangle, and everything in between. And Pastor Hickman, we've been working with you and others on the strategic demolition, again, city-state partnership. So it's really coming together here in East Baltimore. And before I get too excited and pass out or something, I just want to say it has been almost a religious experience here, the transformation, okay? And I would never make it as a pastor, but every once in a while I want to pretend that I'm one. So thank you, everyone, to our federal partners, Assistant Secretary, to our state partners, Secretary Holt, obviously to the mayor and the council president, the comptroller, to our partners in the community. Eric Booker is here, I know. Terry Booker is here. Community Sports Critical. And what could we have done without Humanum and HEBCAC? So thank you guys. And Bill Struver, thank you all. I'm going to sit down.
So you've heard about the challenges, and our next speaker really helped us to cut through the fog, to circle our wagons, and he met needs exactly where he saw them. And because of Secretary Holt, I am very, very proud to say that this project has the support of Governor Larry Hogan and of his administration. Secretary Holt is one of my favorite people. He's a no-nonsense kind of a guy. Reminds me of maybe someone from a Clint Eastwood movie.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I hear all these thank yous sort of ringing in my ears, and I'm going to bring a thank you from Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford to each and every one of you for all that you've done. Clearly, success has many parents. I think we've all gathered. It feels like one big family. It feels really right. My origins, to some degree, were in the General Assembly, where my seatmate was Maggie McIntosh, and my chairman was Mayor Rawlings-Blake's father, Pete Rawlings. So I think they taught me well. I learned my lessons, and I'm making an effort on behalf of the state of Maryland to invest. That's the other word that's sort of resonating. Thanks and invest. And Governor Hogan is intent upon investing significantly in Baltimore City. We've all heard about Project Core. That's a $100 million proposition to stabilize, to deconstruct, or demolish where necessary blighted areas. It's also followed by a $750 million commitment to redevelop. And the folks that are here on this stage, and many of you in the audience, are the partners that'll make a very, very successful redevelopment plan, not just in East Baltimore, but West Baltimore and North and South Baltimore. So anyway, I'm going to turn the mic over to my seatmate, and with great thanks. Okay.
Whatever the secretary says.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm not going to... Actually, Graziano almost got dizzy up here. Did you see that? I obviously want to thank all the partners in this project, and we know how important this project is for East Baltimore. I have to say that, Madam Mayor, when Bill Struver came in to talk to me about this, you know that old line from the movie, I said, Bill, you had me at food. So thank you for all the work you did. Madam Mayor, this is quite a day for you. And I hear it isn't going to end here, that you're going to go to another event. And we have had an extraordinary day, as Elijah Cummings, who was at the last event, said, this is food for our soul. And it is, isn't it? It's food for our soul that we see a project like this emerging here in East Baltimore, a project like Open Works, and then in the future we see other projects that have sprung out and sprung off of EDBI and all of the investment that's going in here. But the key here, I think, as I kind of watch what's going on in East Baltimore, we've got an old printing company somewhere up around here that is soon going to be, we hope, renovated. We need the state's help. We need the governor's attention. Right, Mac?
Yes.
And it's going to be a place where people will get retrained, retooled for jobs, where people will get skills to go out in the workplace, especially those coming out of incarcerated situations. We have this opportunity here for good food, for jobs, for training, and we have Open Works for making good things and having arts and our creative communities survive in Baltimore. These are all, it's not an accident, they're all connected, and we need to continue to press to redevelop these blighted areas and really grow the new economy for East Baltimore and above. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm very pleased to bring thanks from Speaker Bush, Speaker of the House, and from Mike Miller, President of the Senate. We are a partner here, and we are very happy to be a partner here with you. Thank you.
Delegate McIntosh truly has a heart for progress for those who really need it the most. And our next speaker, this is his home turf. He gets just how important this project is for this particular community. I was thrilled to meet him today, and I can't wait to chat with him more. But a lot of the progress that has happened here has happened because of and with his support. Senator McFadden.
Yay.
Thank you, China, and to all of the names that have been mentioned earlier, all the partners, all the businesses. I really want to thank you. You know, this thing started, Greg Heller, a little guy, came to my office about 1.5 years ago, and he was talking about food in East Baltimore. And I said, wow, young man. And he was explaining how it happened in Philadelphia, and now you got a big job in Philadelphia and turned it over to China. So, young man, progress is here. The mayor's going out of, look, let's be very clear about all the work that this young lady has done, yes, and the vision that she has for the city. All too often, and I know it's a hot seat, that's why I never wanted it. Because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. But anyway, I mean, development all over the place, and she's starting that whole process. Now all the next administrations that follow, all I'm going to take credit when the ribbon gets cut. But Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. And the same can be said for the greatest president we've had in a very long time. He gets the same thing, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sorry, Pastor, in Jesus' name. Barack Obama has turned this country around.
Yes.
Turned it around like no other president without any help. I mean, he was inaugurated, and those guys said we're going to work for 4 years to get rid of him. And then he got reelected and said we're going to work 8 years to get rid of him. Bro Williams, thank you, sir. Thank you. The development's going to happen in East Baltimore. All my elected officials, Carl Stokes, that's your district. You turn it over to a Robert Stokes, and we're going to move this thing forward. Eric and everybody out there. Look, there's a lady that's been here for 56 years. I went to a place called Clifton Park Junior High School right up the street. we had a little movie around the corner called the Ritz movie where we used to go in. Am I right?
All right.
Come on now. And that Ringgold, 56 years, stand up. Lady lives right up the street in the middle of all of this folks. 56 years, a couple of doors away. Fires, I mean, you couldn't imagine what went on in this place. It was an old city yard. And when the city left, Booby and the boys came. That's all I'm gonna say. I can tell you about them later. But you know, God has a vision for our community, Pastor Hickman. Paul Graziano, I know you were talking about how it all got started. Let me say to you something. It's a man named Nathaniel Higgs in the Southern Baptist Church. Arnold Williams and a group of us invested on the west side of Gay Street in a place called Coral Grand Higgs.
Yeah.
And we built that senior center. We put millions of dollars of our church money in it. And one day I was walking around talking to somebody, and they told me to go see a gentleman that ran Humana. And they were over there on Federal and Edison Highway. Am I right? And we had a great conversation because I had shown this building to Congress people all over the place. And we couldn't get the thing developed. And Humanum came in. And you're right, Paul. We started a whole process. And in East Baltimore, we're going to get things done. It's not all about Hopkins and EBDI. They're great partners. It's a world-class institution. EBDI and the help that they're doing there is marvelous. But up here in Broadway East, where the people are, the overflow, isn't that right you call it? What do you call it? You call it the overflow. And now we're in the overflow. And we're going to start building communities in Broadway East and Oliver. We're going all the way to Clifton Park.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to rebuild East Baltimore. Dew Burns would be happy today, wouldn't he? Hattie Harrison smiling in heaven. And Bob Douglas is saying, keep going. All of you guys that are behind me, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. Secretary Holt will be coming down to see the governor. Sean is quite correct. We got a couple of projects. Maggie kind of mentioned it. But we're going to get East Baltimore rebuilt to the glory of God. Thank you, guys.
We wanted to save the best for last so we could end our program with a bang. I'm bringing to you Comptroller Joan Pratt, followed by our community member, Terry Booker. Comptroller Pratt.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to join the American Communities Trust and Humanum for the Baltimore Food Hub groundbreaking. This is a joyous occasion for me and the many people that have contributed to this vision and its progress. It is obvious that both of these groups are committed to community development through service to low-income urban neighborhoods. The launch of this venture is proof positive of Baltimore's ability to attract entities that are interested in moving our city forward, and I thank you for your commitment. I am happy to be standing here with each of you as a very proud supporter of this endeavor, and I look forward with great anticipation to the success of this project, a project that is designed to benefit so many of our citizens. And I would also like to present a citation to the American Community Trust and Humanum, and it reads, "Congratulations, the citizens of Baltimore join me in applauding your hard work and determination to develop the Baltimore Food Hub. Our city's ongoing development showcases the courage and the spirit of projects like this. Your commitment to creating this teaching and commercial campus is both motivating and exciting. Along with your ability to understand the needs of our city, your self-sacrificing spirit reveals a high standard of excellence within you. And finally, best wishes are extended to the American Communities Trust and Humanum as you embark upon this extraordinary venture. Again, thank you so much for your commitment."
You're good. No. Terry, I always feel like the community voice is the most important voice that we could hear because we pledge to serve our community.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who don't live here in Broadway East, I'll welcome you to the Broadway East neighborhood. We are always excited when it comes down to new development in our neighborhood. What a great amenity it will be for those who are looking to move back into our community, that they will have a food hub, a place to come to buy fresh vegetables and fresh meat. What a great asset it is to the ones who are living here to be able to come into the neighborhood, especially our seniors. Those who have been here will be able to come in their neighborhood and shop again. And those who just moved here in the new Mary Harvin Senior Center, this is a great asset. Well, they'll be able to come to buy their dinner, to go home and to be able to cook without having to catch the bus or spend their last on a taxi cab or what we call a hack or Uber to get to a food market that's not in our neighborhood. So to all the partners here who decided to say yes to invest in our neighborhood, we thank you on today.
That's right. Yes.